What's up, everyone? It has finally happened. We have got the Super 7 Masters of the Universe Classics Ultimate figures in hand, and I am very excited to be taking a look. And we're starting off with the man himself, Ultimate He-Man. We've got a mailer box similar to how Mattel did it. It's brown instead of white like they did in the original run. We've got our logo. We've got Ultimate He-Man. We've got the adult collector in the bottom left. We've got that Super 7 logo on the bottom right. We got some trademark stuff, some barcode stuff. So let's pull this guy out and take a look at the actual package. All right, so here's our figure out of the mailer, just the normal blister package that we've got. And we've got to address kind of the problem. I know it's been rehashed and talked about over and over and over again with this line, but the original plan for these guys was that they were going to have collector-friendly, resealable packaging. And according to Super 7, they failed the drop test that I guess would keep the contents from spilling out everywhere. So instead of waiting even longer to get us our toys, they decided to go with a normal style sealed card that is not resealable. So you can see the bubble is glued to this beautiful card back. I, for one, I'm not too worried about it. I'm opening them. I'm going to keep the card back. I can get it out of there and not destroy the card back. So it's not a huge deal for me personally, but I understand from a collector standpoint how that would piss off a few people, and I get it. Few other things that are worthy of noting is that on the card, this bottom part, it's not sealed right here. I'm assuming this is potentially for ease of use in peeling it off, but at the same time, I'm not so sure. And then the hole punch at the top is a point of contention for a lot of folks because instead of going with the regular style hole punch that we're used to seeing on, I don't know, every toy, they went with a circle, which looks really weird. It looks odd to me. It's also got a protective plastic ring on the front and then nothing on the back. So the big thing for me is that it kind of obscures this beautiful artwork on the back. But that's, if that's what they had to do, that's what they had to do. So let's take a look at the overall package. We've got, this is the kind of homage to the original packaging from the 80s with the red lava burst, the vintage Masters of the Universe logo. Everything about this package screams vintage MOTU, and I absolutely love it. All the other oddities aside, I think this is an awesome presentation. This is how Masters Classics should have been packaged from day one, hands down. There is probably nobody that will dispute that. Resealable card or not, that's how it should have been packaged. They even come with a faux backer card that has like a vintage mini comic inspired card back there. It's not a mini comic. They couldn't do that. It would have probably cost, I think they said, a few more dollars per figure to have to do that, and people were already complaining about $35 per figure. I'm fine not getting a mini comic. I think this is a cool thing. We've got a lot of artwork from, I think, like Axel Jimenez and Val Staples is involved. So a lot of the big names in the current MOTU fandom and community are involved with the card backs and the artwork that we're getting. We do have new backer art on this package as well. We've got He-Man and Castle Grayskull in kind of a sunset style background there. We've got some, vintage style instructions on the back showing you how to remove the alternate heads. We've got the other Ultimates, and then we've got a cross sell for the upcoming Collector's Choice and Club Grayskull figures. So say what you will about Super 7, about what they did in terms of resealable packaging. You like it, you don't like it. At the end of the day, taking it face value, this package is beautiful, it's amazing, and I'm a fan. So let's pull this guy out and take a look. All right, now before we move on to look at the actual figure itself, I do want to mention again that we get these kind of faux mini comic style backer cards that are included in the blister. So this is He-Man's. You can see it's got a shot of He-Man fighting Skeletor. Great artwork done by Axel Jimenez with colors done by Val Staples. So just a new little thing that they could add to kind of beef up the packaging. And on the back of these cards is our new bio. And you can see there's quite a bit here in terms of a bio. This is a lot more in-depth than we ever got with Classics. It kind of picks up where things left off at the end of the line with Mattel. So we've got kind of a look at He-Man himself and then picks up where things left off. So just a cool thing. I'm definitely going to be keeping this So let's take a look at He-Man himself now. Alright, so here is our ultimate He-Man figure out of the package in all of his glory. And I gotta say, right off the bat, I am overall very pleased with this figure. I think it's a pretty good attempt at giving us a very comprehensive He-Man figure based on what we've gotten in the Classics line so far. So let's do Articulation first, just because it's the basics. It's nothing new. If you have any Classics figure, especially a Classics He-Man, you know what to expect here. So the head can swivel, goes up just about a little bit, down a little bit. Arms go all the way out. They can rotate. We have a bicep swivel, single joint at the elbow, and then wrist rotation. He has a crunch, swivel at the waist. Legs go almost all the way out. Pretty good forward kick. The loincloth, as usual, is going to get in the way. Pretty decent kick back. Swivel at that thigh. Single joint at the knee. And then a boot cut. And then we have a hinge at the ankle. These are the newer style ankles that we got, starting with Vicor in the line, I believe. So they don't have the peg showing. They were, aesthetically pleasing to change in that regard. They also helped with stability. Unfortunately, mine has a loose ankle, which has kind of plagued this line for a long time. I was hoping I wasn't going to see this, but the right ankle on this figure is loose. The left one is fine. It hasn't really given me any issues, but it's one thing that I was hoping to not have to worry about. Now, as far as the sculpt goes, if you've seen my original He-Man Classics review, which I would recommend doing anyway, even if you haven't seen it, if you have seen it, go ahead and watch it again. Why not? This is the same figure. It's nothing new. Same exact sculpt. The only thing that's really different in terms of what you're seeing right now is that he's got the vintage style head. So in the original Classics line, the vintage head came as kind of a bonus pack in with the Ular figure. So this is an attempt by the Four Horsemen to give us a more vintage toy-inspired head, and honestly, this is the He-Man head. It's far better than the regular Classics head. I think everyone in the fan community agrees that this is the head we should have gotten from the get-go in this line. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the sculpt. There's just not a whole lot to talk about. It's the basic He-Man buck with loincloth belt, furry boots, and a great head. He does obviously come with two other heads that you saw in that package shot, and that's part of what makes him the ultimate He-Man. We'll get to those in a minute. Now, as far as paint goes, not tons. He does have some shading on the body, which is pretty standard for this line. We've got the black paint on the brown boots. We've got the painted belt, and we'll get to that in a minute when we compare him to the original He-Man. And then we've got paint on the chest guard here, and then of course we have shading and paint on the face, and the face itself is pretty damn clean. Eyebrows are nice and crisp. Those eyes are very forward-facing, white on the teeth. And then the big change here is that hair. We'll talk about that more in depth when we compare the two. But the hair is a very different color than what we would expect to get with a He-Man figure. It's more brown with a wash in it rather than kind of a blonde color. I think they just went way, way too heavy on that wash. I don't really mind it so much. It doesn't bother me, but it's a difference, and it's not something a lot of people were expecting to get in the final finished product. Now, as far as comparisons between the two goes, you can see this is the same figure. There is no difference there, but there are a few differences in terms of paint applications, and then of course those boots have the different ankles on them. So he has no pegs, he has pegs showing. As far as the differences go, one thing that kind of sticks out is the chest guard is a little more crisp on the Ultimate He-Man. Could just be due to age, but the red on this one is redder than the red on the original one. The hair on the face is the hair on the head is obviously different. You can see this is a very yellow blonde color. This is a very brown color. I'm assuming this has a lot to do with the wash they used, and that maybe it's just applied way too thick, and they did it on all of the heads. Again, it doesn't really bother me. I kind of like the fact that it's something different, but if it's not what you wanted, I can see being a little bit peeved about that. There are other differences as well, and it comes down to the belt and the bracers. So you can see that the belt colors are, in a way, inverted on the Ultimate He-Man. So Classics He-Man, original Classics, has an orange belt with kind of dark maroon little bits and bobs on it. The Ultimate He-Man has a more brown belt with just kind of tan-colored jewels or whatever those are supposed to be. And then the underlying armor itself is orange, though. And then as far as the bracers go, same orange color, but this is again that more darker brown, whereas this one is not quite as dark. So it's just a little difference in paint application. Again, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm not upset by it, and it will help differentiate the two outside of the fact that, this one's always going to have the vintage style head on. Now, as far as accessories goes, you can see that he is holding something that definitely did not come with the original figure. We have got the Alcala style mini comic version of the Power Sword. So this thing originally came, we do have this in the Classics line, the original Classics. It came with the Hero 2, the Dare figure. So this was another bonus pack-in that we got at the time. I'm always going to be displaying the Ultimate He-Man with this sword. He does have the same standard shield, and then he does have the same axe that we are pretty much accustomed to. We've got quite a few of those in the line now. But he also has the standard kind of half power sword. Mine's a little warped. I haven't fixed it yet from being in the package. And then, of course, he's got the regular classic style power sword. So he has 2 full swords, 1 half sword, 1 axe, and a shield. And then, of course, we can't forget to talk about those extra heads. All right, so the first of the 2 heads we've got is the new Ultimate Classic style head. So this is the same head you just saw a second ago on our original He-Man, but he has that kind of different paint scheme going on. So he's got the darker hair with that wash in it. And honestly, I'm not so sure that I don't like this more. I think it might look a little more realistic because the other Classics head is just a glob of yellow paint really with a little shading in it. This looks a little more like actual hair to me. So I don't know, maybe it's not that bad after all. And the other bonus head that we get is the Ular head. So this Ular head is essentially the mini comic style He-Man head from the mini comics. And it is the same thing that we got with Ular. No difference there. Very clean, looks good, eyes are nice, good eyebrows, good teeth. I love the sculpt on this face. I'm pretty excited that we're going to get to see this head again with the upcoming Prince Adam figure that Super7's releasing. But again, he's got that same kind of dingy brown with the wash in the hair. Again, it doesn't bother me. So at the end of the day, it's just a different way for me to display these figures, and I'm all about that. So overall, I am pleased with this attempt at making an Ultimate He-Man from Super7. Just like everybody else, I'm not happy with the delays and how long it took to get them. I understand that, though. It's not the end of the world for me. Resealable packaging, again, it doesn't bother me. It would have been nice to have, but I'm not going to fault them for that because it doesn't affect me personally, but I can understand where folks are coming from when they get upset about that. The figure itself and the overall presentation, pretty damn good. The excellent card art we got, the mini comic backer card that we got, very cool stuff. And then, of course, we got He-Man with 3 heads, 3 swords, an axe, and a shield. So we got pretty much everything you could expect to get with this He-Man without getting into crazy realms like having all the other swords or battle armor or anything that would just make this pack way too big and too expensive. So I applaud Super7 for this first attempt. I am really looking forward to digging into the rest of these figures, and yeah, that's about it. It is everything I thought it was going to be for the most part. So again, very happy. So let me know what you guys think about this figure down in the comments below. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share that whole YouTube thing. And until next time, everyone.